The AVSC does really good work. You publish best in class, best practices, no pun intended on that. And recently, the AVSC released a best practice for automated driving system, dedicated vehicle, immediate post-crash behaviors interactions. That sounds like alphabet soup. Why release this best practice now, and why is it so important?
Yeah, good question. We want to have impact, so thinking about like the timeliness and the relevance of our topics is, of course, really important to us too. I think most importantly, the consortium, our members, recognize that there isn't a broad consensus in our industry on post-crash behaviors and interactions for an ADS-DV or automated vehicle. But as you know super well, I'm sure many of our listeners do too, we're seeing an increase in commercial deployment and testing of automated vehicles on public roads. So we, on the AVSC staff side and our membership side, agreed it was really important to help the industry coalesce around, what they, as developers or operators and their systems, need to do, not only to prevent crashes, which has been a lot of our focus for the past several years, but also to minimize the severity of a crash when it does happen. And a big part of reducing the severity of crash and post-crash incidents is, of course, how the system responds and communicates after a crash. And then, as you probably also know, this topic, post-crash sort of behavior, has gotten a lot of attention in the press and in government in the recent, couple of years. So that attention is a big part of the motivation for us to address the topic too.
If you want to use the term, there's been a spotlight put on the various different scenarios, and certain companies have handled it one way, other companies have handled another way. But you're right, it's out there, and then it gets put in its reports, and it gets picked up in blogs and on social. You're a membership organization, so you're looking at topics. As you clearly said, this is a very timely topic. It's a very important topic. But how do you get your membership base to come together to agree on, okay, this is the topic that we're going to work on a best practice for?
Yeah, cool. That's a kind of a wonky process question. I like that. So we, at least annually, in some formal ways, bring our AVSC staff side, so myself and our executive director, Darcine Foldenauer, bring our membership together to go through a series of kind of suggestion, ranking, and voting processes to figure out what all of our members think is important, how we think the topic might support adoption and responsible deployment of the technology, whether we think all of our different stakeholders will care about the topic, how difficult we think the topic will be to write about and then publish. And that's an opportunity for us to talk about, what's giving the industry heartburn and where can we find alignment across our membership. So those conversations vary each time we have them, but we have them a couple times a year. And this topic was, I think, initially proposed, or the work started in earnest about March 2024 and came out around that time the next year. So it took us about a year to figure out how we wanted to handle it.